Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to AIM Golf Academy. My name is Lou, and I'm going to be guiding you through our movement practice today. And this is the ongoing series of movement, body movement for golf. And of course, you can use this in everyday life as well, but we're going to be moving into various positions and postures that help us and help our body just kind of move in types of directions that make us feel good, as well as allow us to move to get a successful series of movements while we play golf. Now, to get us started, we're going to just spend a couple of minutes settling, if you will, into this position and posture that we are in. So you're going to stand up nice and tall. I'm on a yoga mat. If you want to be on the floor or wherever you happen to be, that's also totally good. I'm just using a yoga mat. If you have shoes on, take them off so you can just connect with that floor surface or the yoga mat surface, whatever you happen to be. And you're going to just bring your arms at your side, stand as tall as you can. Let's just spend a moment or two connecting to our breathing. We want to take active control of our breathing pattern by breathing in through the nose. Nice and slow breath in. Try and keep the chest area calm when you breathe, so there's no big inflation of the chest. It's more of a deep, deep, deep breath going all the way down and more into the belly space, if you will, when you are taking that inhale. And to help us even gauge that a little bit more, you can bring your right hand onto your belly. You can take your left hand to your lower back, and then you try and breathe into these spaces. Imagine the big breath coming in, something like that, and then out, in and out, and keeping the chest calm. But many of us have turned into chest breathers over time, and we want to reverse that and go back into deep diaphragmatic breathing. This is the way that we were designed to breathe. So the big diaphragm muscle contracts and then relaxes. So contracting and relaxes, goes up and down. So nice big breath in and out. And then we're just going to start to rock our body weight a little bit side to side. Now I'm rolling off the flat portion of the foot, rolling onto the edge of the foot. And if you notice, I'm keeping my shoulders up, so I'm not doing any upper body tipping. One of the hallmarks, really the foundation of this movement program, is isolation, to be able to isolate body parts. It's an isolation type movement. Then we activate the muscle group, and then we integrate to create movement. Okay, now you're going to get onto the flat part of your foot and keep that same motion going side to side with the shoulders pretty much right on top of the hips. So there's no tipping in either direction. It's just more of a full body lean as you go into this full range of motion. We're going to warm up the body a little bit in this standing position, and then we're going to get onto the mat a little bit later and do some rotational type movements today. We're going to focus a bit on rotation and side to side body tipping. Okay, now we're just going to come into a still position. You're going to lift your heels up. Lift your heels up, 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 as high as you can go. Lower them down, lift your toes up. So up and down. Now, if the calves are a little bit weak, what tends to happen is the heels shoot off to the side. Try and keep your heels in when you lift. Lower, lift the toes up, control the movement. A little bit too much, so I was rocking, almost fell back. Okay, control the movement. Good stuff, okay? And then back into a nice neutral position. Now, we're just going to keep the arms down. Let's turn our head. We're going to move a bit into the neck space. And turn to the left. So I'm turning to the left. Go as far as you can go. Keep your shoulders down and come back to neutral. Turn your head to the right. You're going to go as far as you can go. Come back through middle. Look up all the way. And then you're going to come forward and tuck your chin into your chest. And again, come back and look straight ahead. Okay, turn the head to the left side as far as you can go. Dropping ear to shoulder, look up, peek up, and let's do a head circle very slowly. We're all used to doing this, of course, but you want to do it very slow. Move through an entire range of motion. All the way to one side, really stretch it out. Go to the other side. Look up and down, just as you move your head all in direction. So we'll do about 3 of them or so. Maybe 4. Well, that feels pretty good. Then we'll come back to center and go to the other side. You're going to turn your head to the right. Drop your ear to the shoulder and look up. And there's really no right or wrong way to do this. It's just a movement, nice, easy movement to get through the neck space. Really good to loosen the vertebra within the neck, create full range of motion, a lot of flexibility here in the neck muscles as well. Yeah, do about 3-4 times, and then come back through neutral position. Okay, we're going to stretch out just a little bit more. Tuck the right arm behind you, and this will keep your right shoulder down. You're going to turn your head to the left, hold on to the side of your head, apply a little bit of tension, drop ear to shoulder, and then look up. Now, tension level, if 10 is the most, we want to be at around 5, maybe 6. Should feel pretty good. Looking up. And then start to look down. Again, hold that tension, keep the right shoulder down. You can turn up the tension level if it feels good and you want a little bit more. And now turn so that you're looking through the underarm on the left side. And so I'm holding the top of my head now, drawing down, looking through the underarm on the left side with that right shoulder far and away. Okay, I'm going to release the tension of the hand and bring your head back to neutral and switch it up. Take the left arm behind you, turn the head to the right, holding to the side of the head, and I would drop the head down, look up. And make sure you're breathing. So we do want full conscious control of breath all the way through. Nice big deep breath in and out. Now I'm going to start to look down. Spend a few seconds here, 15-20 seconds or so, and then I'm going to start to turn my head so I can peek through the underarm on the right side. Release the tension, and then bring your head back to neutral position. All right, we're going to bring the arms to the side, and we're going to lock the elbows straight, okay? And if we don't, the movement then tends to be through the elbow. We want the movement through the shoulder. So you're going to lock the arms. Let's lift the shoulders up towards the earlobes. Tuck your head down. And then release and let it go. Let's just do that a couple of times. So straight up. Tuck your head down. And as you drop your shoulders, press the top of your head straight up. So you're getting this length and space between the earlobe and the shoulder. Again, do that a couple of times. Up, down. Now we're going to go up, hold here. Send your shoulders to the back of the room, then to your back pocket, and then forward and up and back and around. Okay, so this is a full shoulder circle without rib movement. So if you notice, I'm trying not to move my body at all, just isolate this movement of the arms through the shoulder. This is going right through the rotator cuff into the shoulder socket, and we want to create as big of a range of motion as we can without additional ribcage movement if possible. So this will give us that nice big range of motion. It'll give us that flexibility that we want to all move into, up and down. Do this really slowly so that you can manage the movement in an isolated fashion. And then back to neutral and down. Now this time I'm going to lift up again, but this time forward, down, and back, and up, and forward. Get arms straight. Both arms are straight, elbows are locked. I'm just trying to roll forward, nice and slow. Shoulders get tight because they're so complex. And it's not just the shoulder, but it's also the collarbone and the shoulder blades in behind that we want to create some movement. Okay, shake that out a little bit. Good stuff. Okay, a little bit of arm movement. You're going to lift the arm up, right arm up in this case. See how far you can go before you feel the need to start to lean to get this position. The idea is to get as much range of motion in that arm as possible. And then you take the arm down, and then how far back can you take it without leaning forward or pressing the head of the shoulder forward? So keep the arm straight, go up on the right side, get length, and go back. And again, find length. How far can you go with your own muscle strength? Full range of motion. Up and down a few times. Okay, now we're going to do the other side. So just do the other side and check that out. See what that feels like. Left side, up, down and behind you. Now, some of us, you might be a little bit tighter on the one side, so you may feel like you need to lean over. You want to stand straight, just go as far as you can go. Really take it back, and then go right back up again. Good stuff. And just to give you an indication of what our range of motion is like sometimes, it can be quite deceiving. Okay, back to neutral position, and I'll show you what I mean. Just tuck your left arm behind you for a sec. Take the right arm forward. Now take the right arm off to the side. And then drag the arm across your body. How far can you go without actually turning your body? So just the arm. How far, how far, how far? Now, using my own muscle strength, this is about it. This is all I have. But does that mean that this is all I've got? Actually, no. I do have a little bit more. If you hold on to the side of the arm with the other hand and pull, you'll see that you should be able to get a bit more movement into that shoulder socket. That's the shoulder blade moving away from your back. Good stuff. Now let that go and do the other side. Tuck the right arm back, left arm forward, open. How far can you go? And again, if I turn to the side, the arm does go back without any type of movement, quite a bit. And then we drag it across the chest. I don't want to turn, so I just want to keep my shoulders facing forward, and then a bit of an assist. I'm definitely tighter. My arm is here, and I can go quite a bit further. So this is an indication that I have pretty good range of motion, but just not enough natural strength to take my arm through that range of motion. Okay, lift both hands and both arms up. We're just going to move through the fingers. Fingers also really important. This is the last point of contact, hands and fingers, as we, of course, move through the golf swing. So we want as much flexibility, movement, and articulation through the hands. Palms up, move the fingers all around. And it's a freestyle movement. Again, no right or wrong way to do it, just create the movement. Okay, now make a fist. Other side, switch. Really open and close. Squeeze that fist. We want fist mobility and strength through the wrists, a lot of strength through the wrists. Okay, now make two fists and start to do some controlled movement with your wrists. So the hands are moving up and down, side to side. This is an extension, flexion, up, down, up, down, just using my own muscle strength, up and down. And even here, there's much more range of motion that I want to tap into. So let's go into flexion on the right side. The arm is straight, straighten the fingers. And with the other hand, you've all done this, I'm sure at some point, you're going to do this. Pull the hand back. So we are lengthening the tissue on the forearm at the bottom and contracting all the connective tissue on top. Press that arm forward. So you're pressing the palm forward, drawing the fingers back at a nice stretch. Then you're going to move into flexion. Hold on to the hand, draw that back. I don't know if you guys are by a window, but it's snowing outside. Back to extension. And quite the snow at that. And back into flexion. One more time. Okay, drop the arm. Shake that out a little bit. Let's do the other side. Left arm up. Moving into extension. Hold on to those fingers in the hand and then just draw it back. Start at a 0, then work your way. Just dial it up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get a nice stretch to the lower forearm. And then we'll move into flexion of the hand down. Draw that back as we lengthen the top tissue, connective tissue of the upper arm. Top side of the forearm. And then one more into extension. And about 15, 20 seconds or so. And when you do these on your own, of course, you can do them as long as you wish, whatever feels good. And then back into flexion. Good 30 seconds on per side is usually pretty good. And release and let that go. Okay, a little bit more movement now through the shoulders and the wrists. Take the hands forward. Take your hands this way. Interlock your fingers. You've all done this as well, I'm sure. This is you lift the elbows up to shoulder height. Let's bring the hands and arms inside out. So how far can you open up the arms without this happening? I can't go very far. I've got a very tight elbow on the right side. And I unravel, straighten, and then do it again. Keep the elbows high in this position. Try and straighten in this position as much as you can. And the more isolated movement that we can manage, the better. This is even hard for me to do without dropping my elbows. I feel this in my shoulder as well. So for me, this is a very challenging move and one that I avoid because it's so challenging. So that actually tells me that I should be doing it. Okay, and then last one. Whew. I feel that quite a bit. For me, it radiates right up into my arthritic shoulder. Okay, arms to the side. Let's bend at the elbow. Now keep your hands straight. I'm going to turn to the side. We want to avoid this type of movement with the hands. So just keep your hands still. Elbows will be up at shoulder height, so not down and not too high up, just somewhere around there. And then we keep the arms neutral, so not too far forward and not too far back. And then all we do is just close down. This is where the tendency is to do this. Keep your hands here, press the arms back as far as you can go, and then open up. So you cycle through this movement of internal rotation to external rotation. Internal, external, internal, external, and then we'll do opposite side. One, then the other. As much range of motion as you can possibly do. Last one. Whew, my one shoulder is really tight today. For me, I have an arthritic shoulder on this side, so sometimes it acts up and there's I feel it right there, a little bit pinchy today. Okay, let's just move that around a little bit. Should feel a little bit better. Okay, and then a little bit of backward swimming. So think about that backward stroke. You lift the arm, reach back without doing this type of compensation movement. So you're going to stand straight, reach the arm back as far as you can. Reach like you're reaching in the back of the car. And then repeat. So we go side to side. Do it slowly. Imagine you're reaching back or you're trying to touch the wall behind you. And then again, the other side. Okay, good stuff. And last one. Good. Now we're going to move into a little bit of spinal movement. We're just going to lift the arms up and overhead, reach up, and then fold. So think about folding through the center right through the center, right at that hip crease. Just come on up, send your bum back, maybe bend the knees if you need to touch the floor, round over a little bit, and then lift, come on back up again. So just a little bit of spinal movement, up and down. Nice job. Okay, one more. Come on up. And bring the arms down. Okay, back, still some more spinal movement. This is called a tree hugger movement. Take the feet a little bit wider. What I'm going to do is imagine that I'm just going to walk up to a tree. I'm going to hug the tree, bend the knees, give it a big hug, and then I'm going to straighten up and lift the chest up, look up. Okay, so it's a bit of a spinal articulation movement. You're coming forward, rounding, hug your tree, bend your knees, and then open wide chest, look up at the ceiling, nice big hello, and then close it up again. Tuck your chin into your chest, roll your... Sorry, these AirPods fall out from time to time. A couple more. Nice big opening. And we'll do one more. And release it and let it go. Okay, good stuff. Now we're going to move through the pelvis. Now there's a couple of, we've done this quite often, and it is a series of movements that we do need to get a pretty good handle on, and this will actually benefit us in just everyday life for core strength, health, and body movement, and just general stability. And this is the pelvic tilt movement. So think about the pelvis right here. The pelvis is a bowl of water. When we tip the pelvis forward, we're going to dump the water out. And when we pull the pelvis back and get that little tailbone tuck under, we bring the water back in or stop it from moving out. Now you can bring your hands onto your waist for this movement. You can also bend your knees slightly and bring your hands onto your legs. So I'm going to arch my back, dumping the water out. I take a breath, and when I exhale, I contract belly muscles, and then I round through the lower back. So I'm flattening out actually that lower back as I tuck the tailbone under. So it's an inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And this is a segmentation of the spine around the lower lumbar area. So lumbar and all the way down to the coccyx, okay? So it's actually not the area where we do the rotation in the spine, but this is where it starts. A little bit of rotation starts right here in this space and then moves up the spine through the mid-back. Get up and down a few times. And do the last one. There we go. And last one, come on up. Okay, really good stuff. I'm going to go back into the lower parts, into the leg muscles, and into the glutes as well, and then some of that deep hip joint stuff. So bring your hands to your waist. Rock your body weight side to side. This is how we started. Find this range of motion. Take the range as far as you can go without tipping the body in either direction. So typically to compensate, we do this. Stand up straight, take the movement to the side. Then go to the other side as far as you can go. So you're going side, side. How far can you go? If you do this 30 seconds either side, over and over again, this range of motion increases, especially when you go to the end range. Give it a little bit more muscle contraction, create that movement, and it'll take your hips into that space. Really good for pelvic health. Okay, and now I'm just going to turn it into some circles. I'm still staying pretty upright, but I am bending, of course, a little bit at the waist and trying to do a full circle through that hip space. It's a nice big opening here. And slowly, slower than you'd like to go. And other direction. See what that feels like. Other side, other direction. And then we go back to neutral position. Okay, now we're going to bring our feet maybe a little bit closer. Lift up your right heel and turn your toes under on that right side. So think about cracking the knuckles in your fingers. You're going to do that in your toes a bit. So not too much pressure, especially if this is new to you and you haven't done it before. It can be a little bit tight. Toes can be really tight as they're supported by our shoes. And so just a little bit of pressure. You can move the leg in and out slightly and then release it, let it go, and do the other side. Toes over, in and out a little bit. Switch again to the other side. Now this time you're going to press just a little bit more. So go a little bit more. This is going to stretch out the connective tissue at the top of the foot Gives you that great connection to the earth. Good stuff. Release. Switch. Other side. Nice and slow. Start at 0. Work your way up to about 3, 4, 5. Whatever feels good here. Crunch it out. Crunch it out. It's also very common initially when you first start this to cramp in this position. Okay, and then you're going to let that go. Okay, good stuff. Lift all 10 toes off the floor. Lift all 10 toes off the floor. Now, without looking down, you're going to try and put down just your pinky toes. Just your pinky toes. Then the other 2 toes, the ones beside the pinky. Then the middle one. Then the next one. So now just the 2 big toes should be up. And now you're going to press those down. Press all toes down. Move your foot around a little bit. That's it. Ground into that space. Should feel pretty good. Now you're going to lift up your 2 big toes. Big toes lift. Then the next 2. Then the next 2. Then the next. How many more have we got? And then the pinkies should be coming up last. All 10 toes off the floor. And then just bring them all down to the floor. Okay, good stuff. This time you're going to lift up your right heel. And now we're going to do some circles, just using the surface of the foot, the outside edges, if you will, to create that circle. So you're going to roll to the outside of the foot, to the heel, and then to the inside arch. Try and isolate the movement so it comes right here from this hip socket. So you're firmly grounded into your left foot, supporting your body weight. And then you are doing as big of a sweeping circle as you can possibly do on this one side. Okay, this is, as you can obviously notice, a full body movement practice. Nice and slow. And one more in this direction. Lift the heel and go in, out, and around. Again, full circle, do it slowly. Nice big sweep here through the hip socket. Okay, and we'll let that go. We'll switch to the other side. So I shift my weight just a tiny little bit, press into the right leg, lift the left heel, go to the outside, and as soon as I do that, I felt a little bit of tightness already. So I'm much tighter on the left side than I am on the right, and you might be as well, or maybe not. But always a good point of observation when we move from left to right position. Okay, a few more. So we do about 5 or so, and do it slow again. So you're trying to just move into a big range of motion here. Okay, now I lift up again, sort of a straight position, and then I go inward and back and around. In, back, and around. And I'm going to do 2 more, and that's going to complete my 5. There's 1. And 1 more big circle, and that's 2. Okay, great job, everyone. That's our easy body movement to just get us all warmed up. Have a little sip of water if you like, and then we'll move on. Okay, as we've touched upon in previous sessions, our body has what is referred to as several body planes, meaning our bodies can move in various directions, sometimes just in that one direction and sometimes in other directions. So I'll give you an example. If I stand to the side, and if you were to slice my body in half, and I would kind of split that way, that's called a sagittal or frontal plane. So we're able to move forward. We're also able to move back. These are body positions and movements that we can create. So front to back is one body position. Another one is referred to as a transverse plane. So imagine if you had a saw and you just cut me right in half, right here. That means the upper body can turn one way and the lower body can stay still or turns the other way. This is something else that we try and tap into in the sport quite a bit. So we're trying to move the upper body one direction with the lower body staying fairly neutral, or at least for us to be in control of it without doing this, unless we're doing this on purpose. So think about your hip points. If you had a couple of lights pressing forward on your hip points and you're going to try and turn just your upper body, where does that rotation come from? A lot of people think it's the lower back, and it's not. It happens from your shoulder blades. There's a slight little rotation that happens from the lower back, very, very slight. And then as it moves up the spinal column, the rotation is actually between the shoulder blades. So in your mind's eye, when you're creating rotation of any kind, you have to start thinking about it as happening right back here, right between your shoulder blades. So right through here, but on the back side. So already, if you think about it coming from that space, it's going to take pressure off the lower back. Okay, the other type of movement for us is the ability to tip side to side without front to back or any rotation. So of course, that is just a side body tip, side to side. This is the other way that we're able to move. So that's the challenging part of the golf swing. If you think about it, if I turn to the side, it asks us to lean forward, do a rotation, and also tip at the same time to create the full torque of swing so that we're able to move. It's a very complex series of movements, and this is why isolating our body parts is so important, to be able to control all of these movements independently, so then we can figure out later how to all put it together to make it happen really quite efficiently. Okay, so let's just practice some of those movements. The first one is going to be just a side to side, and I'm going to show you a couple of variations. What we're going to do is lift the arms up. Here, let's just interlace our hands. So interlace your fingers, press the palms forward, and then reach up. So you're going to reach up full height. And now look up, press the palms straight up, and do a little side tip. So all you're going to do is move to the side. Think about creating space between your lower ribs on the left side and the top of the hip bone on the left side. So we're creating space by leaning over just to one side. So not forward or back, no rotation, just a little side tip. Pretty easy. Good stuff. Okay, back to center, other side. Now come back to center. You're going to drop the right arm behind you, grab onto the elbow, and then do the same thing. This time holding onto the elbow. Look up. Side tip. Back to neutral. You're going to switch, grab onto the other elbow. And then come back through neutral position. Good stuff. And let that go. Okay. Wrap your arms around your body. Try and hold on to your shoulder blades behind you. Okay. So if you can, hold on to those blades right there. Keep your elbows up. Now we're going to do the same thing. So what I'm going to do is tip to one side. Look up. Control the movement. And then come neutral and go to the other side. Come back to neutral and let that go. Okay, we're going to switch it up a little bit. You're going to take the right leg and cross it over the left leg. Lock your thighs together and have your feet pointed forward. Let's get those palms together again. Get the fingers together. Press, reach, and now you're going to tip again to the right. See how that feels. Back to center, over to the left. Back to center. Drop the right arm back, hold on to the elbow, and then do the same thing. You're going to drop over to the left side. Notice the range of motion. Maybe more, maybe less. Back to center. Switch. Back to center one more time. Wrap your arms around. Tip to the right. Look up. Tip to the left. And again, back through center. Uncross your legs. Give that a little bit of a break. Good stuff. Okay, now we're going to add one more dimension into that. And let's see how we do with that. You're going to wrap. And so feet roughly about hip distance apart. You can go shoulder width if you like. Whatever gives you good balance position. Good firm balance. Wrap the arms around. Okay. Now you're going to drop to the right and then lean forward. And then do a circle. Try and keep those hips neutral and just move your upper body. So now I'm introducing the side move, forward, and then rotation. As much range of motion. Notice the balance sequence of how you feel. And trying to really move into a full range of motion. Okay, one more. And then go the other direction. So I'm going to go back to the right, straighten out, tip to the left, lean forward, and then rotate. Rotation. And back to neutral. Okay, drop the arms, shake that out a little bit. This time you're going to cross the left leg over the right. Bring your thighs to touch, bring your feet to touch. Point the toes forward. Again, press down so you're a fairly balanced position here. Wrap those arms around, and then we're going to try to do the same thing and try and play with our balance a bit. So I'm going to tip to the right and then lean forward and then do a circle and see what this range of motion is like. Definitely more challenging, so I want to do it slower. Use my core strength. This is a core stability type movement. Nice job. And this time, come all the way up. Neutral, and then go to the left, forward, around in the best circle that you can make. So 2 more. And do the last one and come up to standing. Okay, good stuff. Have a little sip of water if you like. Take a break anytime, of course. I don't call these cues, but I do grab a water every once in a while. Okay, the ever elusive rotation. Rotation. This is a real big challenge for many of us because we're so tight through our back. And again, a lot of people think that the rotation happens from here. So in your mind's eye, when you're creating any kind of rotation, many people do think it comes from the lower back. And when you do that, you tend to engage those muscle groups. Shift your gaze upward. Think about the space between the shoulder blades. Excuse me, between the shoulder blades. Let's take our feet a little bit wider. This is going to stop the pelvis from doing any kind of a rotation. So at first, we want to just get the pelvis locked in. Remember, think about those 2 headlights pointing straight ahead. You don't want those lights turning in either direction. They want to go straight ahead. And all we're going to do is just take the arms up into this cactus position. And now we're going to start to turn the upper body to the right side as far as I can go. Again, try not to turn the hips or the pelvis at all. Keep that neutral. Only go as far as you can comfortably go, and maybe that's not too far. And then you go back and go the other direction. And switch, other direction. Just notice how far you can go. Okay, come down to neutral, and I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick here on how to keep the pelvis a bit more stable. When I send my shoulders to the right, I'm going to actively try and push the right side of the pelvis more straight and to the left. So I'm trying to do the opposite of what the upper body is doing, and that will neutralize the bottom. When things are really connected and our bodies are tight and you turn, everything turns. Everything turns. And that's not the greatest thing if we don't have control over it. So again, take the arms up, or if this is a little bit easier, sometimes the arms get heavy in this position. So you can just hold on to your forearms. As you start to go over to the right side, notice that temptation to continue the turn this way. Don't. Turn the hips the other way. So pull your belly in so the abdominal muscles are tight at the belly button. And as you go this way, you're actually turning the hip in the opposite direction. And it's ever so slight, just enough to create the neutral position. As you come back to center, you'll notice the release. You don't need to do it so much. And then you go to the other side. And now this time the left hip goes over to a little bit more to the right space. Right and left. Try and keep your hips completely neutral. And back through into the middle and just take a quick break. Okay, we're going to come down onto the floor. And we're going to see what the rotation feels like from the floor position. This also will allow the knees and the hips and everything to stay neutral in one position while the upper body rotates a little bit. So again, you can bring the arms either in the cactus position like so, or forearms like so. And you're going to create a rotation. Follow the movement with your head as well. Back to neutral. Go to the other side. So just side to side. They're all really great, great, great stretches. Again, think about that space between your shoulder blades to create the rotation. And that's the thoracic spine, the mid-spine level. And we want to do a lot of these in various different positions. Okay, that's the last one there. Okay, now we're going to get into a modified lunge position. So one leg goes forward. Now, if you can, you're going to point your toes behind you. So instead of having the heel up, have the toes down and press so far, like when you're pointing your toes, that you try and get the shin down to the floor. And again, you want to get this position of the foot, this exaggerated type of a stretch into the foot. And we're going to do a similar type movement. Again, hips stay neutral, forward position. We're going to create an upper body rotation. You can hold on to your elbows, cactus the arms out, whatever happens to feel good. You can even have the arms straight if you like that. And you kind of move into this rotational type work, okay? So if you notice, my chest is pointing towards you, but my hips are going towards the front as best as I can. So I go to one side and then turn, go to the other side. Much more range of motion, of course, opens into this one side, and then you go to the other side. And notice the amount of pressure that's in your feet and the legs as you go through this. This wants to be an upper body controlled movement. So all core strength, very little happening down there. Okay, come back to neutral. Good. And we're just going to switch it up to see what it feels like on the other side. One leg back, one leg forward. Find your position. And both knees here, or both legs are like 90-90 position. 90 degrees in the back. Point the toes. Again, any position that feels good. Maybe cross the arms. Hold on to the forearms, keeping elbows at shoulder height. and then move. Now, when you're doing the rotation, it's an exhale for the rotation. Inhale to center. And when you fully exhale, rotation to the other side. Okay, come back to neutral, hold that, drop the arms, switch legs. Okay, I'm going to switch legs. Interlace your fingers, send the arms up. Now in this position, modified lunge position, we're going to just tip to the right. Keep pressing those palms up and keep the arms straight. So you're trying not to lean forward here. You're crossing in body plane when you do that. Stand up, tip, and then you're going to tip to the other side. Arms are back, right? Not forward. Arms are not forward. They're up and behind you, and then you tip your body to the side. And one more time, right, as far as you can go. Center, left, stretch it out, should feel pretty good. And look up, and that'll avoid you from leaning forward. And back to center, drop the arms, switch the legs. Other leg. 90-90 leg position. Interlace your fingers, reach up. So if you notice, this is the position I want to stay in. At no time do you want to lean forward or lean back. Stay tall, tip to the right. Keep going, keep going. Center, left. Look up. One more time up, go to the right. Good job. One more time through center and tip over to the left side. And come back through center, take a quick break, drop the arms, both knees down, good stuff. Okay, we're gonna do one more to put it all together and see how we do on this last one. Okay, back to 90-90, the left leg is forward, the right leg is back, point your toes behind you, try and get that shin flat onto the floor. Okay, we're gonna stand here in this tall position, wrap the arms around you, then you're gonna lean to the right, lean forward, and then do a circle in this position. And if this feels awkward, it should. We want to do awkward movements to normalize them after a period of time. The more awkward movements we can do relatively well, the better we're able to do more regular movements. So this is quite functional for just everyday work and efficiency of movement. Okay, so I'm going to the right side about 5 times. I'm coming back to a neutral position. I'm going to switch the grip of the arms. Lean forward to the left and around. So again, full ranges of these body motions. Rotation, flexion, extension, and then lateral movement as well, the side-to-side movement. So this is the entire range of motion that that golf swing asks us to do. As much control as you've got. 5 times. Contract all muscle groups to control the movement. Last one. Good stuff. Take a quick break. Whew, shake that out. And sadly, we've got 2 sides, so we're going to do the other side as well. Okay, let's just set that up. 90-90 on the legs. Point the back toes. Upper body tall. And then we're going to just pick an arm on top. Give yourself that big hug. You're going to tip to the left and then forward and around this way. Now, of course, you can practice these in any leg variations. We're just kind of playing with the different modified lunge. You can also do the one leg up and high into a high lunge if you really want to play with balance. So progressive movements, we'll play with that maybe next time. And for now, we're just supporting our body weight in this position. So about 5 times, one direction. Make it as big of a circle as you can. Make sure you're breathing. And this will be my last one, I think. Okay, back to neutral. I'm going to switch the arms. So the other one on top, the other one on bottom. This time I'm going to tip to the right, forward, and around in whatever I can manage in this position. And this might feel pretty awkward. Do the best you can. 2 more. Nice big sweeping circle. Last one. Whew. And we release and let that go and shake it out. All right, gang, that's it for today. That's a lot of movement, a lot of various different movements, lots of core focus today, as well as all the different body planes. I hope you enjoyed it. Practice that. You can come back to these recorded sessions at any time, repeat them and do them over again. It'll be super, super helpful for you as you continue to move on to your journey. Okay, that's it. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you next time in our movement practice. Thank you.
Thanks, Lou. That was great. Thank you. Have a good week.